Join us and discover beautiful beaches, rugged landscapes, pretty towns, desolate mountain ranges that sweep down to stunning lakes, unique architecture, history and folklore, no shamrocks, no shillelaghs, and definitely no shenanigans, just naked Ireland. I'm assuming people in Ireland won't need any explanation of the Battle of the Boyne, nor its day of celebration on the 12th of July each year. But certainly those watching outside Ireland will benefit from a bit of background to that day. It's a celebration for some, like these slightly rhythmically challenged gentlemen, or a day to go on holiday or lock yourself indoors for others. This marching band is typical of the Loyalist bands that parade through the streets on the annual 12th of July celebrations. Catholics and nationalists tend to find this display triumphalist, antagonistic and intimidating, but for die-hard Loyalists, the glorious 12th, as it's called, is the apotheosis of the Loyalist calendar. Now on that note, today we're actually visiting the site of the Battle of the Boyne, which isn't in Northern Ireland at all, but it's in the Boyne Valley, as the name suggests, in County Meath, not far from Drogheda. In 1690, when the battle was fought, this was the Kingdom of Ireland under British rule. It's now in the Republic of Ireland, and this is the Battle of the Boyne Visitors Centre, an exhibition space that not only is positioned on the site of the original battle, but is housed in an 18th century Georgian manor. Now the manor house obviously didn't exist at the time of the battle, but the Coddington family, two of whom fought on the Williamite side during the battle, purchased the Old Bridge estate in 1724, on which the manor house now sits. Now, aside from the important significance of this site as a battlefield, this Georgian house is of real architectural significance, and you can now see the exterior of the house, and in a minute we'll have a look at its amazing gardens too. But first, to the battle that's the subject of such division in the north of Ireland to this day, and is so important to Loyalist culture. The main protagonists were the Dutch King William of Orange, who had been invited to take the English and Scottish throne along with his wife Mary in order to defend Protestantism. And on the other side, the deposed Catholic King James II. Queen Mary II, who acceded to the crowns of England and Scotland, was both William's cousin and the daughter of James, so we could see the Battle of the Boyne in the context of a hell of a family argument. But of course it had bigger implications than that. The battle was in fact of huge European significance, but for Ireland, James's defeat ensured the continued Protestant ascendancy. And there's where it all happened, out there amid the gorgeous countryside. Now the manor house itself is closed at the time of making this video, and it has been closed for some time. But the stable area houses original and replica weapons of the period, and you've already seen some of the cannon that's on show here. A specially commissioned film in the stable area tells the history of the battle. King William, or King Billy as he's often referred to, had 36,000 troops against the 25,000 assembled by King James, most of which were raw recruits. So in that context, I guess it's not that surprising that he got his ass kicked. 1,500 men perished in the battle, which lasted for 12 hours. Another confusing and slightly ironic aspect of this battle was the battle's wider geopolitical European context. While the phrase "kick the Pope" is often heard from Loyalists on the 12th of July, Pope Alexander VIII was actually an ally of William, whilst being a friend to James. The Papal States were opposed to France's Louis XIV's bid for European dominance, and so the Pope, whose effigy is burned on bonfires in Northern Ireland on the 11th of July, was actually on the side of King William. Now a quick visit to the garden, because a trip to this site is not all about battles, politics and religion. There's real beauty here, in the garden, but in the wider Boyne Valley itself, and a trip to this site could easily be followed with a visit to the ancient site of Newgrange, which is not far away from here. But take a look at these formal gardens, and there's a restaurant overlooking them. Now, to give some idea of the international profile of the armies assembled, William's army comprised troops from many countries. Half were British. Of his infantry, 7,000 were Danish and a further 6,000 were Dutch, and they had advanced weaponry for the time. In addition, he had a further 3,000 French Huguenot troops. In James's corner, there were several regiments of French troops, but the majority of his army were Irish Catholics fighting alongside some English and Scots Jacobites. By contrast, his infantry were mostly untrained peasants, many of whom fought with only farm implements as weapons. Now, this oak tree is thought to be the only thing left in the entire site that was present at the time of the battle. That puts it at more than 330 years old. What an amazing tree, and to think what it has witnessed here on this battlefield. This might be a good time for me to do that YouTubey stuff and ask you to like the video if it's been interesting or useful in any way. Needless to say, if you subscribe, I'd be so grateful. It helps a lot, but it'll also make sure that you get more Naked Ireland videos in your feed, particularly if you hit the bell icon. Incidentally, these little wooden structures mark the site of the Old Bridge village, which would have existed at the time of the battle. Unlike our mighty oak tree, it didn't survive the passing of time. Now, if you've loved this film, or perhaps loved the other Naked Ireland films, you might even want to give a small donation to the channel, or a big donation. They're gratefully received as well. Just follow the link in the description below the video, and that'll take you straight to the donation site where you can buy me a pint by way of donation. I'd really appreciate that if it's something you can afford to do.